On screen!
Hello and yay to a new episode of
Yay.
Yay of Shitty
Yay.
Webcomics Weekly.
Need to push it like, what was it? Fucking Wind Waker.
Yay.
Or no, it was Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Bot.
Where
Best
you
of the worst.
buy anything from Beetle. Yay.
Oh yeah, that's
It's
right.
like ASDA ever.
Fucking Breath of the Worst. As usual, these episodes are brought to you by our delightful Happy Fun backers on Subscribestar, which is linked in the description below, where you can get access to a ton of our secret videos that you can't watch anywhere else at all, ever. If you want to suggest a webcomic or ask a question, check out our Curious Cat, also linked below. Today, today, Junior, I figured I would just cover one thing. We'll catch up with Sinfest next week. It's not going anywhere. If it did go anywhere, like say Sinfest next week, suddenly Sinfest was gone, I would be like, lol.
Lamau.
Lamau, perhaps even, yeah.
Lol, said the scorpion. Lamau.
But yeah, in case people are like, oh, I hope you guys were going to talk about this week's Sinfest. No. Because
as far as I'm concerned, we should never have to cover Sinfest again. I mean, it's ancient news, and we've already dealt with it.
It's kind of played out. But I know that
there's new developments.
Yeah,
that's the key thing.
Yeah, I know that stuff's changing with Sinfest, but again, the stuff that is changing with Sinfest, we can go cover that next week. This week, I would kind of want to talk about something that, you know, one of the webcomics that's been blowing up huge since our original blog got banned was Stone Toss, and I think I remember you were the one who found red panels when we were banned, and you linked it, I think, on the 8chan board as just like, oh, well, here's a new webcomic that I found out about, and I always suspected that Red Panels is the same guy and that he rebranded or something, but to be honest, I don't actually know.
The art style is different enough that it could be somebody else, but the way that everything's laid out and pulled off as a comic is almost exactly the same.
It's pretty much the same political stance, and it's the same sort of 3 panels usually, sometimes 4. Similar enough style, so it kind of looks like maybe changed up. What I heard recently, in fact, I was just talking to Nice Mod, is that there's a conspiracy theory that Stone Toss is actually Schmorky, and that's clearly just some kind of meme, though, because considering that Schmorky is a Trunaloon, and fucking Stone Toss is constantly doing, like, comics making fun of trans or joking about their suicide rate and stuff, it seems pretty obvious that they wouldn't be the same, unless it's the ultimate troll by Schmorky, which I really doubt. I'm at least 99.99999% sure, which is pretty good. It's not bad. But I figured we would cover Stone Toss by actually covering the sort of the modern update to it, which is how a lot of people are finding out about Stone Toss, which is stuff like here's a subreddit called Antifa Stone Toss, where they take Stone Toss comics and edit them basically to get rid of the original point that hurt their feelings. Like, well, in fact, right here.
But the thing is, usually when somebody would do something like that, you think it would be a clever attempt to do that.
Yes,
this is just straight up butt blasted.
Yes. You can tell. In fact, we'll be getting into a few examples. I don't want to spend too much time. I kind of want this episode to be a little shorter than usual.
This is showing up pretty good. I wonder, is it still as like fucking low res as when you upload this? Because
no,
the comic is showing up.
I'm recording my screen, so actually all that's happening is that what you're looking, because I'm screen sharing to my brother here over Discord, and he's just seeing like a 480p version of what I'm looking at, but
I can see the comic.
Yeah, my OBS is just recording my desktop, so actually
technology is great. Technology isn't retarded.
Maybe technology can bring us closer together. You mean like touching dicks? But anyways, here's the original comic is a teacher going, if you fail, how will you get a good paying job? And then cut to next on the agenda, how to fix our failing schools. And the teacher says, pay us more money.
The same teacher who said the other thing.
Yeah,
that other shit.
So apparently,
okay, get ready for a wall of text. Here's another element of editing Stone Toss's comics.
Yes.
Which is typical for all leftist comics.
It's become its own meme of the leftist who edits something and it turns into a wall of text, which again, we'll be covering that one too. But yeah, here's the Antifa Stone... it's r/Antifa Stone Toss does an edit of the comic and they're like, there, I fixed it. And it's just like public school teachers are underpaid. And then Immortal...
It's essentially just copium.
Yeah.
It's massive huffing of copium and seething.
Pure copium.
Seethe cope. Dilate.
It's some really dilating copium seethe.
Won't you dilate?
But anyways, yeah, so
I was just thinking of that nonstop when that review of Too Shy was posted by SF Debris.
Oh yeah, he did. I haven't watched that actually, but
no, I haven't watched it yet either. All I could think of was the song, and it was like, why is there
hush hush? I.
Why the fuck is there a line in the song about dilate? Won't you dilate? It's like,
here's the weird thing. This edit is just not only has no point. It has nothing to do with the original. It's not a reversal on the original. It just turns the comic into something that's not about anything. But they made sure to put Stone Toss is a Nazi, which is really stupid when you look at the comic that they're editing that just is making a general political satirical point better. In fact, to the point where it's better than anything they can do, to the point where even a bunch of leftists, like I think Vaush did a video covering a bunch of Stone Toss comics, and even he had to be like, this one's actually pretty good, and he had to fucking he
started laughing.
To cope.
He fucking couldn't cope. He failed to cope.
It's what doctors refer to as a failure to cope. Here's one that I think you might be able to hear. I don't know, but if you can or you can't, this is like 44 seconds, so I'll let you know when this is over. I'm just gonna play this because this is an edit that the people whining about Stone Toss, which is sort of like a posting their L's account on Twitter. I think he made this. In fact, yeah, he watermarked it. Anyways, I'm just gonna play this right now.
This man. Calm down, son. It's just a drawing.
This isn't. Yeah. It's not even a parody when it's fucking just literally.
It just stopped being a parody within the first second. Especially, I mean, the funniest part of this kind of is the he him, but the whole point of the meme is it's just a drawing, son. Calm down. It can't hurt you. But then, which is again, that's practically a meme that's been used to make fun of people who complain about Stone Tosses. People will just say it's a drawing, son. Ooh, Coinbase. But anyways, oh yeah, and then one of his reply to himself is, "Oh, you can really do this with any 1,000 by 1,000." So he just takes another.
Have you seen this man?
Yeah. Anyways, back to the R Antifa Stone Toss fixed, and this one's really weird because they basically reveal that they don't get the original point of this. In fact,
which goes to show that they're stupid.
Yes,
they're just straight up stupid.
They're not only stupid, but they not only miss the point, but seem to be running away from the point. Here's the original one, which again makes a completely valid point about the modern leftist desire to bring back segregation, which is objectively proven. It's not really like at some point it's hard to satirize anymore.
It was the left who created segregation to begin with, and fought against it being removed. It was the Democrat Party who instituted it and then fought to keep it.
Yeah, so the first panel is a blacks only drinking fountain during the civil rights era, and then modern blacks only drinking fountain, but with a nice fancy sign while people are rioting, as if to say, look at the special the special reward we're giving you when it's just the same old segregation essentially. And so to show that they don't get the point, the Antifa Stone Toss edit is, first it says whites only, and then the sign in the background, it's really hard to see, but it says open fountains for everyone. And then the next one just says drinking fountain, and the sign says thank you, which they fucking zoomed in on. And it's like an open admission that they don't even get. Like, it's a bunch of leftists. They don't even know what they don't understand that they're guilty of segregation.
They don't understand their own fucking viewpoint. They don't even have a comprehension of their own standing.
That's exactly it. This basically proves they don't even the Antifa people don't even understand their own viewpoint. So in a way, they're accidentally satirizing this, and then the original comic.
Also, at the same time, one of the main things that they do is it's always about optics. So anything that makes them look bad, they have to backpedal 5 times harder in order to escape from it. No matter what, every single time that they do something, they fuck something up, or they reveal themselves, the mask slips.
Yeah,
they gotta fucking actually. They gotta fly backwards, backpedaling so hard.
But there's also like an amazing display of ignorance on their part of clearly not having any understanding for that. Like, even other leftists are probably like, yeah, it's true, fucking we do, or the left, other people on the left do want segregation. In the reversed kind of, well, like reverse racism, but they want segregation as in they want like black people to be pedestalized, but it's essentially being like, here, now you have your own schools and your own drinking fountains. And it's like, yeah, that's what the original segregation was, regardless of what you say the intent was. It's like, no, it was to fucking put them in second class. And it's like, yeah, it's still essentially putting them in black people in second class, by making them so special that they have to be segregated, essentially.
That was basically what Lyndon Johnson actually did. Yeah. And they, it basically putting them on welfare. And so it's like, oh, we love Lyndon Johnson. Apparently, I was listening to some clip of Cumtown. They were talking about that, how they didn't like the black community start to trash. I think it was Martin Luther King Sr., because he was against the Vietnam War. And I
think it was Junior. I think Junior was against the Vietnam War at some point. Like, he spoke out about it. And so at the time, Martin Luther King Jr. was seen as kind of over the hill, washed up civil rights movement guy. It was after the whole March on Washington and that kind of thing.
And there was a very famous quote from fucking Lyndon Johnson.
The LBJ, where he says, I'll have those N-words voting Democrat for 200 years.
Yeah, for the next 100 years. And it was basically, he did that by basically getting them all on welfare, which is exactly what happened. It's precisely what happened.
Yeah, and if Stone Toss ever made a comic that was directly about how that happened, then Antifa Stone Toss people, the people on the plebiters and all that, would make some kind of edit where that would just be about nothing. It would be a complete non sequitur. Or they would just be angry. We'll get in, there's a couple of those. I don't have a ton here, but there's one in particular. But this one actually deals with another one. We've been gone for so long, there's a lot to cover, and I made sure to open like a tab for each thing to cover. This one's just, why is the ship so cute or something? And it's like, all I see is the fucking amogus guy. That's another thing, is that for some reason Stone Toss became a giant meme for... Again, another weird non sequitur thing where...
This could be its own fucking video, but yeah, somebody came along and was trying to essentially troll his entire account. They would reply to every single post he would make on his own Twitter with just Among Us, and basically Among Us memes. And they're like, oh, we really showed that Nazi now. Look at how we
made fun of him by making a random unrelated thing. And all it did was completely backfire and make him like 10 times more well-known.
It bumped him in the algorithm, and it like doubled all of the traffic to his entire Twitter account.
Directly to, if not, it may be more than doubled, of course. And he was already pretty popular. He was well-known and hated, of course, by the left.
But yeah, it just fucking exploded in popularity. And that's on them.
That's another thing about this account, by the way, which I didn't even open, is there's some of my favorite posts on here are screen caps from the Reddit where people are just straight up saying, all we're doing is giving this guy attention. We need to do something else. This isn't working. Shut this Reddit down and that kind of shit. And just all this infighting, of course, because, naturally that's always going to happen. Here's another one that is funny, and of course, fucking they're missing the point and just completely just they're taken off guard. But here's another Antifa Stone Toss, not even posting an edit, but posting the original of a Paint Grease comic, which Paint Grease is a guy who does, I won't say comics similar to Stone Toss, but he does comics on Twitter that are just kind of goofy, and he does follow me. He follows me on Twitter because I don't know. I think he may have been familiar with Shittywebcomics. Maybe not, though. I guess you'd have to ask him. But on Antifa Stone Toss, it says rock throw being pebble chuck, and then like this sort of dismissive fucking emoji or whatever. But it's a Paint Grease comic that's like in multiple ways satirizing the fucking edits of Stone Toss's comic, where it's like first panel's wall of text, and then wait, walls of text, MS Paint edits, Stone Toss is a Nazi. We're in an Antifa Stone Toss parody. Get them, and then they're exiting the comic and they're turning into horror creatures, which again is sort of it's sort of, I think, Paint Grease in a way taking more of an inspiration from Really Good Comics, which is another guy who is very, very sorely missed. He was actually one of my favorites on Twitter. Because Really Good Comics did really bizarre comics that were like 9 panels, and they would always go way creative, off the rails and just go insane and shit.
I think that was the one specifically where it was a Hee Silly did like the animated version of the
one of the giant rat ball. With that, that's on YouTube. That's still on YouTube.
But that same comic is also very famous for being known as just being called out as it's about white replacement and white genocide, and it's literally just a comic about somebody gluing a bunch of rats together in a ball and rolling it down a hill.
And then the guy's perfectly stretched scrotum, and then the rat ball bashes through his window, so he starts hammering everything, including his own balls with a hammer. And yeah, that's the kind of stuff that's fucking that Really Good Comics.
That's a great example of how the left is just completely insane. They're always on the back foot.
They're completely out of the loop about what's funny anymore. It's something, what's funny?
They aren't funny.
About how,
they're not smart.
Me and our older sister were talking about a bunch of stuff, and I tried to turn her on to The Expanse and all that kind of goofy ass shit. But she even talked about, she mentioned is that stand-up comedy's just dead. It's just fucking dead now. It's like, yeah, it's kind of a shame. And she mentioned Hannah Gatsby. And I was like, oh yeah, the chick who did that special. And I couldn't even remember the name of the special anymore, even though like there's several good Cumtown bits about I was raped and all that shit.
That's her entire spiel. Yeah, her entire act.
And it's like, it's time to have a conversation that maybe comedy doesn't have to mean laughter. And it's like, yeah, actually it does. But again, that's this weird modern take that comedy doesn't have to mean laughter. So the left has no clue what the concept of comedy even means anymore. It's really a shame.
They're out to fucking lunch.
And the thing is that this kind of view, the opposition isn't necessarily owned by the right. It's owned by a lot of people who are just willing to say something that's funny, which usually what's funny is something you're not supposed to be allowed to say. Sometimes punching down as hard as humanly possible for no reason is inherently funny. Fucking Frank Hassel is a really annoying guy. I would be fucking enraged beyond control if I was in person around him in a supermarket or whatever. But the shit he does is funny anyways. Regardless, it doesn't matter. It's never going to matter.
I would not want him showing up at my front door.
Yeah, certainly. But here's the thing. I would not fire a warning shot into the neighborhood to attempt to scare off a guy who clearly is there for that exact to want possibly. I believe Frank Hassel absolutely would have taken a bullet for a fucking perfect YouTube video, or not even YouTube, just for the fucking whole for the lulz, I guess you could say. But that's the thing, is that it's not that the right has the ownership of it. It's that it's pushed into the right. People on the right just have that, not even necessarily there. Like, it's not even a placement thing. It's about something a lot bigger than that. It's about how a lot of the people on the left, insist that you can't even talk or joke about this thing. Therefore, anyone who jokes about it is inherently going to be funny. And like, Cumtown is not anywhere right wing, but they're going to be making fun of like Jews and black people and Indians and all of this shit. It doesn't make them right wing, but it does make them funny because they're joking about stuff you're, allegedly, in giant snare quotes, not supposed to laugh at or joke about.
Which automatically puts them further to the right just by default.
Yeah, I like, for the first few days or maybe week or two of listening to them, I thought, are these guys just hardcore alt-right Nazis? Because that would be pretty funny, and it would explain why, they've been banned from some other shit. And like that Nubian Fi Dance guy, that was an account that would post a ton of clips of Cumtown. I subscribed to him, and a week later he was banned. And I was like, well, these guys must be really hardcore right-wing. And it turns out, no, you don't even have to be right-wing. You just have to joke about the kind of stuff you're not supposed to joke about. That's really all it takes. But yeah, the fucking... Anyways, yeah, the pointing out here that this is paint grease for a bunch that likes themselves a wall of text they sure can't read, is what the guy says. And that's what the guy says. And then here's another thing, is that a sort of left-wing answer to Stone Toss came up with a comic called Bread Pains. So again, we're now officially covering a whole other comic. And it's clearly like wish fulfillment, just entirely blatant wish fulfillment of like a leftist.
Pants piss. It's
Yes.
pants piss cope.
Yeah, like leftists pissing their pants so hard that they're coping. They're coping about their pants
Coping
piss.
and seething.
But are they dilating? That's the important thing. This one just like, you're far left, yes, you're far right, and then wall of text, which they managed to squeeze in a wall of text. That's not bad. I have to say, though, notice that this guy is clearly self-aware about putting in too much text, but it's just...
But they still fuck it up, on top of the fact that everybody knows if you call out somebody as being part of the far left, the first thing you're going to get is a wall of text about how they're not the far left. They're actually centrist, or they're fucking... in fact, I'm actually very right-wing.
Well,
I just hate Trump.
That's actually...
I think all racists should be killed.
That's something, unironically, that guys like Jon Stewart on the Daily Show, the Faley shit, or Stephen Colbert would just say, is that, no, we are not left-wing. We're normal. We're centrist. Everyone else is just crazy. And for the longest time, people forgot. In fact, to this day, people forgot that they said that. People forgot that like Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart would just openly say that they're not leftist when they were. Because they had spent years and millions of dollars and like dozens of a very specific group of writers from a very specific ethnic background to create and fabricate this image of them as being unbiased and balanced and willing to go after the left also, when it wasn't, actually true. They would go after the left only when they were either being like it really openly, blatantly embarrassing, or when they were coming off as too right-wing or something like that, or generally stuff revolving around that. Meanwhile, this comic, though, is just straight up wish fulfillment. That's all it is. It's just like 4 panels of a leftist, like, doing something, like portraying something that has never happened.
It's the definition of cope.
Well, it's also the definition of a straw man, of course.
Yeah. Well, before they called it copium, they called it a logical fallacy.
Yeah. Also, this account basically will post something like this and then just a reaction image, usually from Stone
Goofy reaction. It looks like he's looking at a Game Boy.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that. But
while he's holding an Xbox controller, I don't know.
Why is he doing that? And the thing is, I'll say it's not an argument, but it doesn't need to be. Because in a way, you look at this, and either you're going to be like, so what's the point? It's true, or you're going to be like, yeah, you can tell that this guy is huffing paint thinner and some other stuff, I guess. This was another thing that was from somebody, I think somebody that people I know follow or something, but somebody posts amogus for Smash, which again, this ties into the meme, the whole amogus meme, which is just Among Us is a video game where you're on a ship with a bunch of people and a couple of them are the imposters and they have to go around killing everyone. And then there's like...
and you have to suss out the fucking imposters.
Yeah, you have to find the imposter before they kill everyone, and you have to, like, eject them off the ship. But if you eject somebody who's not the imposter, then you're doing their work for them and that kind of shit. And the game became a big meme. The game became really popular usually with the Squiddos, even though I think this game is, like, several years old and just had a resurgence for some reason. Maybe because of streamers or something. But, I actually played it a couple months ago, and I was, like, not bored, but I immediately just devolved into to intentionally doing sus things and
trolling, because it's like a toy. It's like a casual game, or I won't call it. It's a casual game.
Yeah, it's fun in that sense, but to me, I was like, I just immediately wanted to fuck with people. And in a way play the game as a meme, but somebody here says amogus for Smash, because again, for some reason, just out of hoo lol wacky ducks and cheese randomness, Among Us became amogus with the that twist of the edit with fucking Stone Toss and shit, which I kind of would like to show, but I didn't fucking.
And now supposedly, and I don't know if this is going to be showing up later. There's now the conspiracy that he's putting little hints of the Among Us spacesuit guy in the background of all of his comics.
The fucking people getting mad at Stone Toss account has posted a bunch of those where people like
it's like lost.
He's like doing Lost. It to fuck with me now.
It's like lost.jpg.
Yeah, exactly. Where people are just seeing the shapes in random shit just to fuck with people. In fact,
where it's just being so boiled down to its most basic principles.
Yeah, so it's like to mere lines and shit, and that alone is worth doing a video on, of course. But we probably won't, because I feel like that's been covered at least. But here, this one is just amogus for Smash, where it's like stabs a guy and then I guess finds invitation to the fucking Smash Brothers tournament, and the comment here at the bottom that's not easy to see, but it says, "Stop posting Stone Toss, he's a Nazi," when this isn't a Stone Toss, it's just all caps, and it's not even about anything remote.
It's somebody who's related. Clearly, they're so pissed off. Yeah, that's the thing. It's a leftist who has probably lost every single argument they've ever been in, and now they're driven to a murderous rage. Just even thinking about the existence of Stone Toss.
Yeah, not even seeing a Stone Toss Among Us or anything.
It's just an Among Us
kid or something, or a teenager. But clearly,
obviously,
it's a kid who posted the original fucking thing.
It's obviously a mental 8-year-old.
Yeah. But yeah, the original person. That's the thing. A bunch of kids are just learning amogus as a meme and probably have no clue what it means, because they don't need to. It's just a meme. A lot of kids these days, they're meme-retarded, I guess, but they're learning shit through memes and just becoming addicted to like any random like internet trend in any way. But then, dropping it eventually. This was an edit, a goofy-ass thing that I did make sure to look really close into the rainbow there. And there's even a fucking, I put in a little amogus in the cloud.
Great.
Yeah, that's great. Oh yeah, here's another one. Is that fucking the actual
that's us contributing?
The original Stone Toss did a reference to the meme. I think we covered this last week too. Is the Invincible meme of fucking think Mark think, where
yeah, this is a meme of a meme of a meme.
Yeah, so comic. Stone Toss does the meme and says, "How is removing my watermark supposed to stop me when you always say Stone Toss is a Nazi in the comments? Did it stop Ben Garrison? How about Sarah Scribbles? You even gave me amogus, a meme I sold for 2 Ethereum. Do you have any idea how much money that is? Think libtard, think." And then they just post that without editing and saying, "Oh, he mad." And it's like...
Literally, Stone Toss Comics... fucking at Stone Toss, so his fucking. You just sourced him.
Yeah, exactly.
You just gave him.
I think at this point they know they can't do anything about that anymore.
No, I don't think they know. I don't think they realize that.
Actually,
they still don't get it.
Right here is actually a good example of sort of the backlash of the platforming him. What we used to call the Leth pedestal. Is that when you hate somebody so much, you give them way too much attention and essentially turn your platform into their platform beyond your control. And so, yeah, somebody here says, "Can we stop for a second and think about this? The subreddit's purpose was supposed to be this. Our end goal is total deplatforming." It's weird when they just come out and fully admit it. When they just admit they're for censoring somebody. I'm sure they don't want to say that deplatforming is censorship, but it is. And that they're openly against
and secondly,
the First Amendment and the Second Amendment and all that shit.
They're always in favor of censorship.
Yeah.
What used to be called censorship and is now being called deplatforming, because they know if they admit it's censorship, they lose the argument, they lose the optics war. They're the biggest optics cucks.
And that's the thing, is that their only saving grace is that not enough people pay attention to them for them to lose the optics war that much. But all you gotta do is screen cap them admitting that they're for deplatforming and censorship.
That's how you win against liberals.
Yeah.
Against the shit libs. The libtards. Is you just screen cap the things that they admit to. Snowflake libtards.
So he says, while the sub did contribute to Stone Toss losing his subreddit, Patreon, and Gumroad, he's not showing any signs of stopping. And it's like, if that's all it takes is not stopping for you to win, then always your enemies are the weakest people. Which we've also shown that, of course, not to brag too much. And then other highlighted things are, even though our goal is to get him deplatformed, we're still bringing him attention. And I haven't even mentioned the amogus memes. That was probably the best thing to happen to his career. This sub's goal was admirable but unfeasible. Make your own comics like Bread Pains. Do something. This sub isn't working. That's
Bread Pains, which is just a ripoff anyway.
Has no longer fucking worked. They can no longer cope. They failed to cope.
They're just scrambling. They don't even know how to fix their own problems. Yeah. As you can see here, just make comics like Bread Pains. Bread Pains is literally just a ripoff of fucking Stone Toss.
It's a ripoff, but it's where it turns into wish fulfillment instead of, because that's the reason why Stone Toss is really taking off, is because he actually makes a point in his comics. It's not even that hard to do. He makes a point in his comics. He usually makes a joke about it. He fucking satirizes something, and he knows how to do that. In particular,
he updates regularly enough so that these people can never relax. Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that now people retweet him just because it bothers other people so much. So that's only going to make him more... That's another thing these people don't even understand, is people are just retweeting him just because it makes people angry now. And it's like, if that works, then fucking good. Then I'm going to join in. Here's another, I finally found the Stone Toss comic that fits the template. Oh, wait, and then contradictory leftist straw man statement. Well, wouldn't that mean other contradictory statement portrayed as epic comeback, wall of text with strawman arguments, another leftist owned with facts and logic, and then it's like, which is, again, that's projection, and then this right here is a Bread Pains comic where it is like, again, adventures of things that have never happened.
It's the application of that exact projection.
Yeah, it's the application of the projection combined with like literal straw man arguments, and
plus,
again,
plus an extra, plus more extra wall of text,
and then another wall. I like how this wall of text, the text is actually just cutting off at the fucking inside of.
That's also, isn't this one specifically the B movie script?
Oh yeah, well it says, according to all known laws of aviation, there's no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyways because bees don't care what humans think is impossible. Yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black. Ooh, let's shake it up a little, Barry. Breakfast is... Oh yeah, this is definitely the fucking script.
I've never seen the movie.
But I am familiar with the fucking script to some degree.
It's pretty obvious that this must be it, because that's also a huge meme.
This one here is pooplaunch.com, which, again, I guess this maybe thinks it's supposed to be a parody of Stone Toss or something, or it's like, take that, Stone Toss. But again, wish fulfillment based on something that's never happened and doesn't exist. Which is quite sad, actually. It's not happy. It's the opposite of happy. It's sad. Here's another Stone Toss, Antifa Stone Toss. Failing to cope, having what doctors refer to as failure to cope.
Desperate, swinging, punch-drunk blind.
Yeah, this one is, the original was, why did you choose to be gay? And then just shadow over child. And then I didn't. The implication is they were molested into being gay. Which is,
there's
again,
now there's mounting evidence that is kind of the source of a lot of people who are part of the alphabet soup.
At least it's enough of a supposition that that ignoring it kind of makes you look like you're afraid. Which again is
scrambling, desperate.
The very blatant anger and desperation from just from these edits really displays that. Like, even if you don't like Stone Toss, even if Stone Toss comics sucked and are bad, and for sure he is a Nazi who is bad and should be in the hospital prison for all eternity in the gulag and whatever the fuck, is that his opposition is just doing everything to make him look better and correct. If I was against Stone Toss, I would make sure to not do that. I would say, hey, let's not do that.
And this is fundamentally platforming him, even if you're removing his watermark and you're editing his fucking comic in slight ways, you're fucking essentially still platforming him in ways that we never could platform anybody on our own channel when we talk shit about them.
We intentionally don't do that, of course, but...
which is why I don't want to fucking have to cover fucking Dresden Kodak ever again.
Yeah, that's true. Although next week we probably will. Although I have a feeling next week we're not going to have a new comic to cover. It will just be an older one.
Yeah, it'll be the same one that we did last week.
Yeah, we'll just recover
yet again
last week's comic again. But here anyway. Again, the edits, this one says, this edit makes me feel so much better, which, if you need an edit of a webcomic to make you feel better, you're not just a weak person, you are actually an objectively bad person on an objective moral scale. It's not subjective. But he says, the original comic is some of the most hateful, vile shit I've ever seen. The original comic, again, was basically... it's anti-child molestation and saying the results of child molestation can result in making somebody a homosexual.
Keep in mind, a lot of these leftists are pro-pedophilia. Yeah, they straight up admit it unless it makes them look bad.
That's another thing, is that just showing that, sort of like how we don't platform and make we don't platform other people. We show what they do wrong. These people show what they themselves do wrong just through their own opinions and words and their actions even. So, and in turn, they just make Stone Toss look better. No matter what people say. This guy says, I'm a social worker. That's a big red. Somebody being a social worker, that's kind of a red flag right there.
It's kind of like saying that they're a nurse.
Well, yeah, a TikTok dancing nurse or something. Most social workers themselves are actually really fucked up people. Like, some of them are just straight up sexual predators. Usually sexual predators seek social work because they know that they can find fucking... But this guy says, I'm a social worker and my clients are almost all sex offenders. Yeah, I bet they are. I work with the people who commit these horrible acts to prevent them, blah, blah, blah. Which sometimes they do that, sometimes you don't. Sometimes fucking the people who say that are actually just looking for other victims. Like, some people get into social work so that they can abuse people more. There's been a lot of cases of it that, of course, get buried. And it's another example of people not wanting to. One of the
things I covered on the fucking whatever that guy's blog was, the fucking A4 or whatever, fucking the women's blog. He talked about dating a social worker who just worked with nobody but rape victims, and it was their way to get through like fucking their sick fantasies.
Oh yeah, they would sexually. It was a female social worker, and she talked about how she would get really wet fucking hearing about these horrific rapes or something from her clients or fucking whatever. And
I'm sure would also be describing it in a way that's similar to humble bragging.
Yeah. And again, there's a lot of that worth looking into, or at least having second thoughts about. But the thing is that a lot of these people don't even say, no, that's not true. They say you shouldn't even be able to ask or think about that, which kind of reveals the hidden risk and the hidden threat that they want to cover up. It reveals a desire to cover up the truth instead of not a desire to fucking at least have second thoughts about that. To be willing to to, if somebody were to say, okay, yeah, that could be possible, but we can't say that every person is guilty of that. Instead, they say, no, you shouldn't even be able to think about it at all, which implies, in fact, that everyone, like every social worker, is a secret fucking child rapist. Which, I'm sure that's not true, but all they do is make it look true through their behavior and their desire to, like, saying that a webcomic shouldn't even exist and it needs to be edited in order for their feelings to be better makes it look like that this person is a fucking secret abuser.
I mean, let's face it, how many times have we encountered somebody who is just literally a walking stereotype?
Yeah, exactly.
You look at them, you see their actions, and it's like,
going through life,
people say we shouldn't judge people.
Every person can't be a fucking stereotype, and then every person ends up being a stereotype. And it's like, okay, at some point, some person needs to stop being a stereotype, and then fucking it doesn't happen. It just keeps happening over and over fucking again.
At some point, you have to fucking give up on the hope that you can not judge a book by their cover.
Yeah.
Because so many people, 99% of people are a book that can be judged by their cover.
And they want to be, even. A lot of people are openly, like, trying to display, like, here is my fucking logo, here's my fucking Che Guevara shirt. It describes every political view I have ever had in my entire life. They want to display how they are fucking a book that can be judged by their cover. A lot of people just do that. Anyways, this person says, but this goddamn comic stuck with me, slowly clawing away at my sanity. Again, it's a webcomic. And it goes to
clawing away. They're losing their sanity. They're losing sanity points, sand points.
Yes.
Because of a fucking comic that fucking... It's also one of the examples I made of Operation Infographic, that we can make text posts all day long, just the most harsh, honest, brutal facts, the most salient truths, unarguable, undeniable, and people will scream at us, "Stop posting! Let Jerk post more! I want to see his comics." And it's like, we're not stopping him from making his comics, fucking morons. So why don't you fuck off? And no, because they don't get it because it's not in comic form.
Yeah, that was another thing, is that even people who followed our blog weren't smart enough to know that, like, if you, whatever you say can be the truest truth ever said, but most people have to have it put into a comic, so it doesn't, or a visual form, a simplified visual form, and then all of a sudden it becomes like horrifically traumatic. So yeah, that was the point of that. But it's also that's why people make comics, is to really get a point across. The thing is that at the same time, it's the other point though was about how just people in general are stupid when it comes to just any argument, unless you turn it into a fucking really simple visual. But when you turn it into a simple visual, you notice that's clawing away at their sanity. And that's the thing, though, is that it takes more work, and then you have to be able to draw it too. But that's kind of neither here nor there. That's just a whole other separate point. Anyways,
well, I mean, the key thing for me is just, a drawing. Usually, drawings just by themselves are cringe. Art is stupid. Fuck art.
Fuck art. Yes. But anyways, here's the last thing to wrap up. Basically, is Stone Toss himself saying the people who want me to shut up haven't done a very good job. Lol. And
Lamau.
Somebody replies saying, literally learned about you through an amogus meme with a Stone Toss as a Nazi caption. Lol. The marketing worked, which wasn't even his intention, I'm sure. It was the other people who wanted to either mock him or in some way, they wanted to deplatform him. But the other thing is the sort of
always
rules for
wanted to
radicals where
deplatform
it's
him,
like, it's like mock it, and then people will
sure
not take it
fucking
seriously
pull him
anymore, and it just completely
eventually.
It doesn't work, and it backfired entirely.
Eventually, someday, I think he will get pulled off the fucking off of Twitter.
Yeah, I imagine someday, possibly. Which, of course, he shouldn't, because again, they are just comics, and he kind of knows his way around the game at this point. And I think even if he did get banned, like I think Twitter also understands, if he got banned, other people would just repost his comics over and over again.
Not to mention, they probably lose a bunch of fucking people. Twitter's probably fucking making a lot of, or they're getting a lot of traffic just from him.
Yeah,
he helps provide them with a lot of traffic.
Retweet and share his stuff around.
And if he was gone, then they'd lose quite a bit. I mean, it's not like they go out of business
necessarily,
but they're fucking. It's something that, as a business, owning a business, that's something you should never want. Which goes to show that the people in charge of Twitter are bad at business.
Yeah, the thing is that
bad at business, and they're naturally immoral
for a long ass.
They're inherently immoral for favoring censorship, promoting censorship, specifically of their political beliefs that harm people.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. Twitter's been openly censoring people.
They don't censor the Chinese government,
and then they don't admit it.
They don't censor the Chinese government. They don't censor anything when fucking Biden's about to bomb Syria again. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't censor open propaganda that serves their own purposes, and then straight up calls to violence when they come from Muslim countries and stuff. Yeah, it doesn't matter to that extent. But anyways, so I just want to make sure we were covering. We've at least done one video covering Stone Toss, because it is a big, relevant comic that is it's very well known, and it kind of serves as, I guess, the weekly plug too. And so we're not looking at the Curious Cat this week. We're not going to look at questionable content or Sinfest or that. We'll cover that. We'll go back to that stuff next week, and we'll cover anything we missed. I guess it's not that important, but I want to make sure that we had something this week that was different, and something that we kind of have been not exactly late on. because for a long time I just didn't even care about reading, reviewing webcomics. Like, if I'm going to read a webcomic, I just want to read a webcomic that I like, that I want to read.
Yeah, not to mention, it's not our responsibility.
Yeah. In fact, especially not at this point, but again, this, I think it's best to cover webcomics kind of in this format, because we could just once a week pick a little, an hour to be like, oh, we'll talk about this, and then be like, okay, there, it's done. And not even have to think about stupid-ass webcomics. But there are some good webcomics out there. So wrapping up for this week, spread the word to the inferior normie kettle that you consort with that Shitty Webcomics is back and actually reviewing webcomics. Donate to our Subscribe Star to get access to a bunch of the secret videos. And recommend a webcomic on our Curious Cat, whether it's good or bad. You can also recommend your own webcomic, I guess, if you want us to plug it. Again, this week, basically, we just plugged Stone Toss for the whole fucking video, essentially. So next week, if you have a webcomic, go ahead and say. You have to point out that's yours, of course, and we'll for just plugging, we'll mention it at the end of an episode, but we're not going to review it. We'll just mention it. But like, share, recomment, unsubscribe, unhit the bell, hit the unbell, re-hit the bell.
Don't unsubscribe.
Don't not resubscribe. And should have listened to Shitty
Don't not unsubscribe.
Yeah, and
then click the bell for notifications.
And then after that, should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.